Something extraordinary has quietly unfolded, and your soulmate never imagined they would reach this moment. They believed they understood who you were. They thought your patience was simply part of your personality. Your generosity was effortless, and your gentle heart asked for nothing in return. But recently something shifted. A series of forgotten memories began returning one after another, and for the first time they stopped looking at what you did and started asking themselves why you did it. Listen carefully, because this message may arrive at exactly the moment your heart needs to hear it. Sometimes the deepest truths are not hidden behind dramatic moments, but behind the smallest acts of kindness that everyone else overlooked. Your soulmate is beginning to realize that every time you chose compassion instead of resentment, every time you remained calm when you could have walked away, and every time you quietly supported others without asking for recognition, you were revealing the true depth of your heart. They never saw it then, but they cannot stop seeing it now. The kindness they once considered ordinary suddenly feels extraordinary, and that realization has stirred something powerful within them. One particular memory keeps returning, growing clearer with every passing day, and the more they reflect on it, the more they understand that your kindness was never weakness. It was a silent expression of love, strength, and selflessness that they completely misunderstood. What they are discovering now is leaving them deeply moved, because they are finally seeing the truth that was hidden in plain sight all along. And this realization is about to change everything they believed about your connection. As that realization settled deeper into their heart, something unexpected began happening. Your soulmate could no longer remember you in the same way they once had. Every memory that had seemed ordinary suddenly carried a meaning they had completely overlooked. Conversations they barely thought about before began returning with surprising clarity. Small moments they once dismissed now felt impossible to ignore. The more they reflected, the more they recognized a pattern that had always been there, quietly waiting to be understood. They remembered the times when you offered encouragement, even while carrying burdens of your own. They remembered how you chose gentle words when others might have responded with anger. They remembered moments when you silently stepped back so someone else could shine, never asking for praise or recognition. At the time, they assumed that was simply your personality. They believed kindness came easily to you because they never stopped to consider what it might have cost you. But now, looking back through wiser eyes, they see something completely different. They realize your kindness was never effortless. It was a choice you made again and again, even when life tested your patience, even when your own heart needed comfort, even when no one noticed the sacrifices hidden behind your smile. And that realization has left them deeply humbled because your heart needs this right now. Sometimes the strongest people are not the ones who speak the loudest or demand the most attention. They are the ones who continue choosing compassion when bitterness would feel easier. They are the ones who quietly carry love through seasons that would have caused many others to give up. Your soulmate is finally beginning to understand that this has always been true about you. And listen carefully, because another realization soon followed. They began noticing that nearly every meaningful memory they shared with you carried one common thread. Whenever life became difficult, your first instinct was never to protect your own pride. Your first instinct was to protect the people around you. Even when misunderstandings arose, you searched for peace before conflict. Even when you were disappointed, you chose dignity over revenge. Even when you had every reason to walk away with resentment, you carried yourself with grace. At the time, your soulmate never questioned those moments. They simply accepted them as normal. But now, those same memories have become impossible to forget because they reveal a heart far more beautiful than they ever recognized. They have started asking themselves questions they never considered before. How many times did you quietly hide your own pain so others would not have to carry it? How many nights did you process your emotions alone while still showing kindness the next day? How many times did you forgive without anyone realizing the battle taking place inside your heart? These questions linger with them because every answer points toward the same truth. Your kindness was never a weakness waiting to be taken advantage of. It was quiet courage expressed through ordinary moments. It was strength wrapped in gentleness. It was love choosing peace instead of recognition. Because your heart needs this right now. The deepest expressions of love are rarely announced with grand speeches. More often they appear through small decisions repeated consistently over time. A patient response, a forgiving spirit, a helping hand, a calm voice during difficult moments. These simple choices often reveal the greatest depth of someone's character, and your soulmate can finally see that now. They find themselves replaying one particular memory more than any other. It was a moment they barely noticed when it happened, yet today it refuses to leave their thoughts. The details grow clearer every time they revisit it. They remember the expression on your face, the calmness in your voice, and the quiet kindness you showed without expecting anything in return. At the time, they thought it was just another ordinary day. Now they realize it was one of the purest demonstrations of your heart they had ever witnessed. That single memory has become the lens through which they now view everything else. It has reshaped the meaning of countless other moments they once misunderstood. The more they reflect, the more deeply they feel the weight of what they failed to recognize. And with every passing day, they become more certain that the truth hidden behind your kindness has been there from the very beginning. They simply needed the right moment, the right perspective, and the right level of emotional maturity to finally see it for what it truly was. And listen carefully, because the truth your soulmate is uncovering goes far deeper than they ever expected. What first began as a few returning memories has now become a complete shift in the way they understand your heart. They no longer see isolated moments. They see a pattern that was quietly unfolding all along, hidden beneath every act of kindness you offered without asking for anything in return. Little by little, they have started recognizing that your compassion was never accidental. It came from a place of genuine care, even during seasons when your own heart was carrying burdens no one else could see. That realization has filled them with emotions they struggle to explain, because it forces them to confront something they had overlooked for far too long. They now understand that while they were focusing on words, you were speaking through actions. While they searched for obvious signs, your love revealed itself through patience, forgiveness, understanding, and quiet consistency. Looking back now, they cannot ignore how often your kindness appeared exactly when it was needed most. There were moments when they felt discouraged without telling anyone, yet somehow your presence brought peace. There were days when uncertainty clouded their thoughts, yet your calm spirit reminded them that not every answer needed to arrive immediately. At the time, they believed those moments were simple coincidences. Today, they realized they were witnessing something much more meaningful. Your kindness was creating safety, even when no one acknowledged it. It was offering hope without demanding recognition. It was lifting people quietly while remaining almost invisible itself. Because your heart needs this right now. The most powerful hearts are often the quietest ones. They do not compete for attention. They simply continue giving, loving, encouraging, and believing, even when nobody applauds their efforts. Those kinds of hearts are rarely understood in the moment. They are usually appreciated only after enough time has passed for people to recognize what they almost lost. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that painful truth. And listen to this. As these realizations continued growing stronger, they found themselves asking difficult questions they had never been willing to face before. They wondered how many opportunities they allowed to slip away because they mistook your gentleness for something ordinary. They questioned how many times they accepted your understanding without realizing the emotional strength it required. They even began wondering whether they had unintentionally taken your kindness for granted simply because it was always there. These thoughts have remained with them during quiet mornings, late evenings, and ordinary moments throughout the day. No matter how they try distracting themselves, the same conclusion keeps returning. They did not fully understand the value of your heart when they had the chance. That awareness has brought both gratitude and regret into their life. Gratitude because they finally see the truth. Regret because they wish they had recognized it sooner. Yet even those regrets have started teaching them something important. They are discovering that genuine kindness is one of the rarest gifts a person can encounter. It cannot be measured by expensive gestures or dramatic words. Instead, it reveals itself through unwavering consistency, quiet sacrifices, and a willingness to choose love, even when it is difficult. And the more they understand this, the more deeply they admire the person you have always been, because your heart needs this right now. Some people leave an impression through power, others through success. But the people who leave the deepest mark are often those who make others feel understood, accepted, and safe. Long after conversations end and years have passed, those feelings remain alive inside the heart. Your soulmate has started realizing that this is exactly what happened with you. The comfort you offered never disappeared. The respect you showed never faded. The compassion you carried continued echoing inside their memories long after they believed they had moved on. That is why these thoughts keep returning with greater intensity. They are no longer remembering isolated events. They are remembering how your presence made them feel. And feelings that reach the soul rarely disappear with time. And listen carefully, because one realization has affected them more than any other. They finally understand that your kindness was never an attempt to earn love or approval. It was simply an authentic reflection of who you are. You chose patience because that was your character. You chose forgiveness because your heart valued peace more than pride. You chose understanding because you believe people deserve compassion, even when they failed to deserve it. That discovery has completely changed the way they see not only your connection, but also themselves. They have begun asking whether they have shown that same grace to others, whether they have appreciated kindness when it appeared in their own life, whether fear, distraction, or immaturity prevented them from seeing what was standing right in front of them. Those questions have become impossible to silence, and with every honest answer, another layer of truth is revealed. They are no longer simply remembering your kindness. They are allowing it to transform the way they think, the way they value relationships, and the way they understand genuine love. Deep within their heart, something has awakened that can never return to sleep. And they know that this quiet transformation is leading them toward a decision they can no longer avoid. And listen carefully, because something inside your soulmate has reached a point where it can no longer return to the way it once was. The more they have reflected on your kindness, the more impossible it has become to dismiss the truth standing quietly before them. What they once viewed as simple moments have transformed into undeniable reminders of the kind of person you have always been. Every memory now carries greater emotional weight than it did before, and every realization leaves them feeling both grateful and deeply humbled. They never imagined that looking back could change the future, yet that is exactly what is happening. With every passing day, they feel themselves moving further away from confusion and closer to complete honesty. It is not because someone convinced them. It is not because circumstances forced them. It is because their own heart has become impossible to ignore. The truth they kept overlooking has patiently waited for them, and now it refuses to remain hidden any longer, because your heart needs this right now. There comes a moment when understanding arrives so clearly that pretending not to see it becomes more painful than accepting it. Your soulmate has quietly reached that moment. And listen to this. They have started noticing how differently they speak about you, even in conversations they never expected would include your name. They no longer describe you through ordinary qualities. Instead, they find themselves talking about your character, your calm spirit, your compassion, and the quiet strength that always surrounded you. Without realizing it, they have begun defending the goodness they once overlooked. Whenever your memory appears, it is no longer accompanied by uncertainty, but by admiration. They now recognize that the kindness you carried was not something common. It was something rare, something difficult to find in a world where so many people choose convenience over compassion. This realization has softened places within their heart they did not even know had become hardened. The walls they once built to protect themselves have started falling quietly, not because someone forced them down, but because genuine truth has a way of reaching places fear could never protect forever. And that truth continues speaking to them every single day. They have stopped asking whether your kindness was real. They already know it was. Now they are asking themselves why they waited so long to understand it. Because your heart needs this right now. Sometimes the greatest lesson in life is not discovering who another person truly is. It is realizing how blind we were to the beauty that had been standing before us all along. That awareness changes everything. It changes the way memories are understood. It changes the way relationships are valued. Most importantly, it changes the way people choose their future. Your soulmate can feel that transformation happening inside them. And listen carefully, because another change has quietly taken place. They no longer believe these thoughts will simply disappear with time. At first they assumed these emotions would fade like so many others before them. They believed enough distractions, enough busy days, and enough distance would eventually silence everything they were feeling. But the opposite has happened. Time has not weakened these realizations. Time has strengthened them. Every passing week has made your kindness appear even more valuable. Every new experience has reminded them of qualities they struggle to find anywhere else. They meet many people, yet very few carry the quiet grace that became so natural to you. That comparison has opened their eyes even further. They have started understanding that your presence left a standard inside their heart that no ordinary connection has been able to replace. And this awareness has become impossible to ignore. They can continue pretending nothing has changed on the outside, but inside, everything feels different. Every reflection leads back to you. Every honest thought points toward the same conclusion. The truth hidden behind your kindness has become one of the most meaningful discoveries they have ever made. Because your heart needs this right now. Genuine appreciation often arrives after people have had enough distance to recognize what truly mattered. In the moment, life moves quickly. Feelings become buried beneath responsibilities, distractions, and unanswered questions. But when the noise finally becomes quiet, the heart begins revealing what the mind refused to acknowledge. Your soulmate has entered that season of quiet reflection, and what they are discovering has left them emotionally changed. And listen to this. They have reached a place where silence no longer feels like protection. For so long, they believed keeping these realizations to themselves was the safest path. They convinced themselves there was no reason to revisit the past or acknowledge emotions they had buried for so long. But now silence feels heavier than honesty. Every unspoken thought feels unfinished. Every emotion left hidden feels incomplete. They are beginning to understand that carrying gratitude without expressing it creates its own kind of emptiness. Carrying admiration without acknowledging it leaves the heart restless. Carrying truth without allowing it to breathe eventually becomes impossible. That is why they feel themselves standing at the edge of something important. Not because they know exactly what tomorrow will bring, but because they know they cannot continue pretending your kindness did not transform them. Deep within their heart, a quiet decision is forming. A decision built not on impulse, not on pressure, but on understanding. They are slowly gathering the courage to stop hiding from what they now know to be true. Because once a heart finally recognizes the extraordinary value hidden inside genuine kindness, it can never return to seeing that person the same way again. And listen carefully, because your soulmate has finally arrived at a place they never believed they would reach. After all the reflection, after every memory returned with new meaning, after every quiet realization slowly settled into their heart, one truth now stands before them with complete clarity. They can no longer see your kindness as something ordinary. They no longer believe it was simply part of your personality or a coincidence of circumstance. They now understand that your kindness revealed the deepest parts of your character, the parts that remained genuine even when life tested you, even when your own heart carried disappointments, and even when no one stopped to appreciate what you were quietly giving. This understanding has changed something permanent inside them. It has reshaped the way they remember your connection, the way they value your presence, and the way they see the person you have always been. Because your heart needs this right now. Some truths do not arrive with loud announcements or dramatic moments. They arrive quietly, changing everything without asking permission. Once they are fully understood, they cannot be forgotten. Your soulmate has crossed that invisible line, and there is no returning to the way they once thought. And listen to this. As they continue looking back, they realize that your greatest gift was never the things you said. It was the atmosphere you created wherever you went. People felt understood around you. They felt accepted without needing to pretend. They felt safe enough to be themselves. Your soulmate now recognizes that those feelings were never accidental. They came from the kindness you carried so naturally that even you may not have realized how deeply it touched the people around you. They have started noticing that every meaningful relationship in life is measured less by grand moments and more by how someone makes another person feel. Long after conversations fade and circumstances change, those feelings remain alive. And when they think of you now, that is exactly what returns first. Not specific words, not particular events, but the quiet peace your presence brought into their life. They have come to understand that this kind of impact cannot be manufactured. It cannot be forced. It can only come from a heart that genuinely chooses compassion every single day. Because your heart needs this right now. The greatest influence a person can have is often invisible while it is happening. It reveals itself later, when memories begin speaking louder than circumstances, and when the heart finally understands what the eyes once overlooked. Your soulmate is living through that realization now. And listen carefully, because another beautiful truth has begun unfolding inside them. They have stopped measuring your worth by temporary misunderstandings or moments that once seemed confusing. Instead, they are seeing your life as a whole. They recognize the consistency of your kindness. They recognize how often you chose peace over pride, patience over frustration, and forgiveness over resentment. They understand that these were not isolated moments, but reflections of your true character. The more they see this pattern, the more respect grows inside them. That respect has become something much deeper than admiration. It has become gratitude. Gratitude for every quiet sacrifice they failed to notice. Gratitude for every encouraging word that arrived at exactly the right moment. Gratitude for every act of kindness they once accepted without fully appreciating the heart behind it. These realizations have filled them with humility because they know genuine kindness is becoming increasingly rare. They understand now that many people speak about love, but very few live it consistently through their actions. You did, even when it was difficult, even when it required patience, even when no one applauded you. And that truth has become impossible for them to ignore. Because your heart needs this right now. Real character is revealed not during easy seasons, but during difficult ones. Anyone can be kind when life is comfortable. It takes extraordinary strength to remain compassionate when carrying unseen burdens. Your soulmate finally understands that many of your greatest battles were fought in silence, yet you never allowed those battles to steal your ability to care for others. That realization has changed the way they define strength forever. And listen to this. Standing where they are today, they no longer feel the need to search for complicated answers. The truth has become beautifully simple. Your kindness was never weakness. It was wisdom. It was courage. It was quiet love expressed through countless ordinary moments that together created something extraordinary. Every small act that once seemed insignificant has become part of a much larger picture they can finally see with complete clarity. They understand now that your gentle heart was never something to overlook, but something to treasure. That awareness has become one of the most meaningful lessons of their journey, and it will remain with them wherever life leads next. They know they cannot erase the past or change the moments they misunderstood, but they can carry this truth forward with honesty and gratitude. The person they have become today has been shaped by finally seeing what was hidden in plain sight all along. And before this chapter quietly closes, one certainty remains stronger than every doubt they once carried. Your kindness left a mark that time could not erase, distance could not weaken, and misunderstanding could not destroy. It continues living inside their heart, reminding them every single day that some people change our lives, not through extraordinary words or dramatic moments, but simply by choosing to remain kind in a world that often forgets how powerful genuine kindness truly is.